It's the Fort Hays State University Coaches Show on Eagle Community Television, brought to you by Eagle Communications.
Hello once again, everyone, and welcome into another edition of Tiger Talk as we talk some Fort Hays State basketball in what is our final program of the year. Believe it or not, our final basketball edition of Tiger Talk. How quickly time flies, but getting ready for the final week of the regular season. Next Monday, MIAA tournament play for the Tiger men. So this will be our final Tiger Talk of the season, and we'll get up to date with head women's coach Tony Hobson and men's coach Mark Johnson in a little bit. Program, of course, brought to you by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill. Great week for the Tiger women once again. They win twice, beat Washburn at home, and then knock off Nebraska Kearney Saturday. And with that victory, coupled with a Pittsburgh State loss to Missouri Southern on Saturday, the ladies clinch a share of the MIAA championship. Now need one more win to claim the league title outright. Tiger men get a split. Nice home win over Washburn. Tough road loss to Nebraska Kearney. Still some unfinished business for them if they hope to play at home in the opening round of the conference tournament. And we'll talk all about it when we return. Program, as always, brought to you by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill at 3203 Vine, where the fire's always burning. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll catch up with head women's coach Tony Hobson. It all comes your way next, right here on Tiger Talk. Hi, I'm Gerard Welbrock, voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, inviting you to join me for Tiger Talk. Airs Monday nights from 6 until 6:30 on Tiger Radio Mix 103, and then the video replay on Eagle Cable Channel 14 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Preview the last game and look ahead to the next week's action on Tiger Talk. Monday nights, 6 till 6:30 on Tiger Radio Mix 103 and on Eagle Cable Channel 14. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Welbrock, head coach Tony Hobson, as Fort Hays State gets set for the final week of the regular season, believe it or not. Tigers in Edmond, Oklahoma to take on Central Oklahoma Thursday, and then wrap it up Saturday afternoon in Tahlequah against Northeastern State. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but first, a couple of nice wins over this past week. Started at home on Wednesday, defeating Washburn in another hard-fought, highly contested game, and then Saturday, get the 10-point win at Nebraska Kearney. That coupled with Pittsburgh State's loss, giving the Lady Tigers, for now, a share of the MIAA championship, and congratulations on that first and foremost. I know that was one of the goals set out this year, and kind of the first of hopefully many to come, but you got at least the share and now control your destiny to win it out right here this next week.
Well, I think the last 3 years we've had the goal of winning the conference and making it to the NCAA tournament, and we fell short both those years, but this year it looks like we're going to have a different result. And I thought that it would be difficult for any team from our division to really win the conference, just because it's so loaded, and when you play those teams twice and play the other division just once, I thought it would be it'd be remarkable if somebody could win it from our side, and luckily we've been able to do that and to beat the top teams, and just have to keep moving forward.
Well, let's talk about this past week. 2 nice wins and really a stretch, and I think we talked before the game on Saturday. Probably will never see a month-long stretch like you just had, just in the sense Emporia is always good. Pitt, we know how good they are year in and year out, but to play them coupled with Nebraska Kearney, your chief rivals, really, when you look at your conference slate, the top 4, to play them in succession 8 consecutive games probably won't happen again, and to go 7-1 in that stretch, when you look at the quality of competition, that's remarkable, this little stretch here in the last month your team has had.
Well, I think that's the difference maker right there. I mean, Pitt and Emporia and us, we're all kind of neck and neck going in there with 1 or 2 losses, and then it just has a way of playing out, and those head-to-head games are so important. You can hope somebody else beats them, and that you can beat Kearney and Central Oklahoma and Northeastern and all those teams, but those head-to-head ones are just those are the ones that really count. And luckily this year we fared well, and we've had our kids that just really showed up for those games and saw the importance of them, and I think that comes with experience. And when you're starting 2 juniors and 2 seniors that have been through a lot of action in the last few years. It really helps.
Washburn game on Wednesday, as expected, another tough, hard-fought game, and it came down to the end. You made some plays, and kind of like the game in Topeka, didn't have to come from behind like you did that one, but still it was very tight throughout, and you found a way to make plays down the stretch to win a tight game as expected.
Well, we had a nice lead, and as has happened a few times, we've given some of that back, and then we've had to play well down the stretch. And I'm not sure why that is. I think part of it is, you know, we're probably not as deep as we would like to be sometimes, and I think fatigue comes into play, and part of that maybe is just how I'm rotating kids. You know, I mean, you have to look at everything, and part of it is that teams, once they get behind, they start playing a lot different and taking shots they wouldn't normally take, and if they happen to be hitting them, they can really come back fast on you. I mean, we've seen that from several teams. So anytime you play Washburn, I mean, their record isn't as good as usual, but they're still a tough team with some talented kids, and they're always ready to play us, especially. And we knew we would be in for a battle, and senior night would have been a tough one to swallow. So it was good for us to hang on and beat them. And you know, any time you go to Kearney and it's their senior night and their last game, home game of the year, and they're trying to knock off us, you know, we knew they'd give us a good shot, and they really did. They played well, shot the ball well, and played with a lot of intensity. So I thought it was a good road win for us. Yeah,
hard to imagine them playing any better. I mean, they hit some big-time shots, some very well-contested shots, I thought. And, I mean, they didn't back down, but you found a way, and your team never panicked. Not that there's a reason to, but they just kept going at it. And kind of like, I mean, you tell they were expecting Kearney's best shot and handled it very well and to find a way to get that victory.
Well, I'm not sure. I think there might have been reason to panic a little bit. I mean, I know what you're saying. I mean, it was never like we were behind or anything, but it was nip and tuck there for a while. And I thought, you know, we had several key plays, but one of them was I think Jill Faxon hit a three. At the 4.5 minute mark that bumped the lead back up, and then they cut it down again, and then I thought Paige probably made the biggest shot of the game with the 2:40 mark, with shot clock running down, and Kate got double teamed, kicked it out to Paige in the corner, and she hit a big three to put it back up to 7. Gave us just a little sigh of relief, and then we made our free throws down the stretch and kind of sealed it. So just a good business-like win, and you know, we'll take those all day. I mean, this time of year, it's like we're seeing from some other teams, it's you just survive and move on, and don't worry about style points, and don't worry about anything except just moving on. And while some other teams are struggling with that, so far we've been able to do that.
Well, it was a great win at Nebraska Kearney in front of a great crowd, including a big group of Tiger fans who were there, and that was a lot of fun as Fort Hays State gets the win. Clinches at least a share of the MIAA title. Now they'll try to win it outright. They can do it with a win at Central Oklahoma on Thursday. That is their next action as they begin their final week of the regular season. We'll take a break. We'll come back and talk about all of that when we return right here on Tiger Talk.
Eagle Mission Control, I need help.
Copy that. What's your situation? Over.
My daughter's having a slumber party, and I've got a dozen preteen girls with all sorts of mobile devices.
Copy that. Let's check on your levels. Looks like you have our Nitro 30 meg speed. You are a go for streaming and surfing on multiple Wi-Fi devices.
Thanks, Eagle. Now, can you help me with all of this giggling?
Boost your Eagle internet speed with a next level upgrade today for a successful takeoff for your streaming devices. 877-61-EAGLE.
Get low when the whistle go.
Welcome back to Tiger Talk, presented once again by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine and Hayes, where the fire's always burning. Great appetizers on the menu, so stop on by, whether you're coming back from the game, maybe a late night studying, whatever the case may be. Some great appetizers at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine, where the fire's always burning. Tigers in Edmond to take on Central Oklahoma Thursday, then wrap up the regular season Saturday afternoon in Tahlequah against Northeastern State. And before we talk about that, Kate Lehman wasn't feeling very well in the game Saturday, but still a great effort for her. 26 points, 11 boards. She's close to getting 500 career block shots. I think she's number 3 now and should be number 2 in the Division II all-time shot block list before her career is done. Just continues to be steady, and we've talked about her a lot, but with all the attention she gets, still puts up her numbers, and it seems like every night out there's somebody else helping out, but Beth Boslowski, one that kind of jumps out. She's really kind of taken her game to a new level here in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, she has, and you know, the thing that makes that possible for other kids to step up like that, I think, is just the fact that Kate's there every night. I mean, she's as consistent a player as I've ever had, and hasn't really had a bad game all year. And you know, you don't want to jinx anybody, but usually when kids have a bad game, it's either because you don't feel good, but a lot of times some kids just don't get ready to play every game, and they just aren't prepared. But she's been so steady for us, and she was the other night also. But Beth, you know, she had a great week for us. I mean, she played a great game against Washburn, and you know, got to the line just because they couldn't keep her in front of her. I mean, she got to the basket time and time again and hit a big 3 for us. And so Beth's a great player, and the bigger the game, the more she's into it, and she's played in a lot of big games, and it just does not faze her. And I don't know if there's a more important position to have somebody with some nerve than the point guard position, and she certainly has that.
She's been playing well. We'll need to play well here down the stretch as Fort Hays State closes out the regular season this week. And start with Central Oklahoma, good basketball team. They certainly gave you a good challenge when you met them a little while ago in the Coliseum. And it's going to be tough. And you kind of touched on it earlier in the last segment. You saw it with Pittsburgh State. You see with everybody winning this time of the year, especially when you're playing for a league championship or all those other things, is not easy, especially away from home. This will be a challenging week starting on Thursday.
Well, we're looking at the 6th place team in the conference on the road, and it's not going to be easy. I mean, they're talented. They can really score the ball when things are going well for them, and they're fighting for seeding in the conference tournament, and we expect to get a really good shot from them. And you know, while I think it's a great accomplishment to even get a share of the conference title. I mean, it's like a lot of things. I mean, it's like a toothbrush or a piece of gum or a lot. You know, it'd be better to share it than not have it at all, but they're a lot better if you just have your own. And we definitely want to kind of finish the season strong and go ahead and win this thing outright. But we know that it's going to be extremely difficult. I mean, everybody is out after you, and we've been on the other end of that before, where we've really risen to the occasion and knocked somebody off, and that's what everybody's trying to do to us. But I think our kids aren't taking it for granted, I think we'll be ready to play. So somebody's going to have to. I really think somebody's going to have to beat us, and it's not going to be due to the fact that we aren't ready to play.
And then Saturday, I know your emphasis is on Thursday night, but Northeastern State, and they're always scary. Just their style of play, they kind of muddy the game up, lower possessions, very deliberate on offense. And if you get a night where you're not shooting or they're shooting exceptionally well, and it was kind of the scenario when they beat you at their place a year ago, it can be challenging, but that'll be very difficult for a lot of different reasons. A lot of it's just the way they like to play the game.
Well, they have their own style, and it's effective, especially if they're making their shots. And I mean, anybody I think that can go into Emporia and beat them there this year hasn't happened very often. They did it and we did it. I think they're a team to be reckoned with on any given night. So it'll be challenging. I mean, it's almost like going to a foreign country down there. And I'm not saying that to be derogatory. I'm just saying it's just a fact. It's just different. It's just different, and it's a long ways down there. And they do have a nice new facility to play in, but it's still a tough place to play. And I think that's because of the style they play. They make you guard them for 30 seconds, and they run you off a bunch of screens, and there's always some confusion on how to guard them, whether you should switch or not. So your team just really has to be focused and ready to play that game.
Should be a lot of fun. Great week of basketball for the Tigers down in Oklahoma starting on Thursday. Coach, as always, we appreciate the time. Have a great week of practice. We'll see you down at Edmond Thursday night.
Okay, thanks, Gerard.
That is Coach Tony Hobson of the Lady Tigers. Again, 5:30 on Thursday against Central Oklahoma, then 1:30 Saturday afternoon in Tahlequah against the Riverhawks of Northeastern State. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some men's basketball as head coach Mark Johnson joins us right after this on Tiger Talk.
Imagine powering all of your Wi-Fi devices seamlessly with Eagle Fusion. Your laptop, gaming system, and other electronics connect to Eagle's internet. Call 877-61-EAGLE to get Fusion for only $5 per month.
Imagine your favorite TV show following you through the house. With Eagle Fusion, you can stop your favorite program in one room and start up in another without missing any of it. Get Eagle Fusion for only $5 per month by calling 877-61-EAGLE today.
Eagle Mission Control, this is the Delta Tall House.
Copy that, Delta Tau. What's your situation? Over.
We've got a slew of new fraternity brothers this semester. Are we a go or no-go on our internet speed?
Looks like you have our extreme 50 meg speed. You are a go for streaming and surfing on multiple Wi-Fi devices with lots of new roommates. Over.
Thanks, Eagle. We're a go for a great semester.
Boost your Eagle internet speed with a next level upgrade today for a successful takeoff for your streaming devices. Call Eagle at 877-61-EAGLE.
Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Weilbrock, joined now by head men's basketball coach Mark Johnson. The program brought to you by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine and Hayes. They got the quick and easy lunch menu items. They'll get you out and back to work in time. Great prices and a great selection and some new additions. So check them out next time you're going out over lunch hour at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, where the fire's always burning. Well, kind of a good week and a bad week for the Tigers. They get a nice home win over Washburn, and then kind of one of those games just like to forget on Saturday at Nebraska Kearney. I guess let's talk about Washburn first. A hard-fought win and a back-and-forth game. Probably not the defense either coach would have cared to see, but one of those nights everybody was shooting the ball well, and you guys found a way to make enough shots and make enough plays down the stretch to get a big win to give you at least a chance to possibly play at home again in the first round of the conference tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a really well-played game. I thought both teams moved the ball extremely well. We both shot it at a high level. I think we were 15 of 24, that's about as good as you're going to shoot the ball. So it was an entertaining game. We found a way to make enough big plays, hit some big threes coming down the stretch, and I've really kind of been doing this of late, kind of going through Dom, the last 5 to 6 minutes of close games, and I think that's really helped us. He's been able to either finish and score. He got Royce 2 good looks from 3 that Royce was able to capitalize on and make. So, I mean, a good game. I thought from a fan perspective, it was an entertaining game, and it was a big win for us. And as we keep trying to give ourselves opportunities to play a home game.
And we say the defense probably wasn't as there, and I thought both teams were trying, especially your guys. Sometimes it's you see games like that occasionally where the offenses are playing at such a high level. It's just hard to defend people because they're knocking in shots and just working the ball around and finding the open player.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was contributed on both ends. I mean, I don't think either team would necessarily say they were happy with their defense, but I do think both teams were playing highly efficient offensively, and sometimes that good offense beats good defense. But again, we'll take it. We needed the win, especially when it's basically as you come in here to the last week of the season, it's down to us in Washburn. You feel pretty confident you're going to play each other. It's just more we're determining where that game's going to be at. Is it going to be in Topeka? Is it going to be in Hayes? If we would have lost that game, it would already be determined we're going to be in Topeka. So like you said, we've given ourselves an opportunity and a chance if we can win some more games here the last week of the season that we'll be able to play in Hayes.
Talk about efficient offense. I don't know if they'll be much more efficient than what we saw Saturday by Nebraska. Kearney in that first half of the Health and Sports Center. They got out to the quick lead. You made a little bit of a push. I think you got it to within 3, and then they just put the hammer down. They were hit threes. I mean, didn't really matter what you tried. They were knocking in shots. They were going to be tough to beat by anybody on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't come out ready to play, and I guess the only thing to make yourself feel better about it, I don't know if it would have mattered. I mean, obviously you don't want that to happen. I think if we would have come out and been playing at our best, we could have kept it competitive. But I think that Kearney, like we talk about a lot of times, it's not who you play, it's when you play. Kearney's a very good team, and we were playing them on the wrong night. You could just tell even before the game started that they were really into this game. It was a big game for them. It was an important game. I think it was one of the bigger crowds they've had in years. It was senior night. They had the gold uniforms. It was Connor Brannick's birthday and all those things. So, I think they would have got us no matter what. It's just unfortunate we didn't play up to the level we would like to have played.
Yeah, it was kind of the perfect storm, as you said, and they were good, and you guys battled. But as you said, now sets up a very important little two-game stretch here to have a chance to play at home. You got to go out and get at least one. Maybe you have to get 2. Who knows? Here down the stretch, have a chance, but it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, we have to at least win one for sure, and then with whatever happens with the Pitt State-Washburn game. That's the last game of the year on Saturday. Washburn's down to 1 game. If they happen to beat Pitt, we'll need to win both these games. If they lose to Pitt, which I think that's probably a 50-50 game, if they lose to Pittsburgh, then we'll have to win one of these. So we just got to focus on what we need to worry about, how we need to play, and not get too caught up in what Washburn's doing. It's going to be a challenge. We go back to that saying, it's not who you play, it's when you play. I mean, Northeastern State is not the same. We're not going to play the same team we played here. We caught them on the perfect night where they really had a lot of things going against them. They're a much better team than what we faced here. I think they've won at least 3, maybe 4 games since that time. So both these games will be a challenge for us.
Tigers on the road in Oklahoma to wrap up the regular season. We'll talk a little bit more about those when we return to Tiger Talk, presented by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine in Hayes. Our final segment is next, right after this.
It's a beautiful day in our super high-speed internet great customer service neighborhood. Like you, this is where we live. In fact, our company is employee-owned, so it's our goal to improve the quality of life for everyone in our community by delivering faster, more reliable internet, clearer, more feature-laden phone service, quality TV channels, all with the level of customer service you'd expect from people who are your neighbors. Eagle Communications. Our community connected.
Get low when the whistle go.
And welcome back. It's our final segment here on Tiger Talk as the Fort Hays State Tigers get set to take on Central Oklahoma Thursday and then Northeastern State in Tahlequah on Saturday. Tiger Talk, as always, presented by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill at 3203 Vine. Great appetizers, great steak items on the menu, also some seafood. And, of course, if you need your event catered as we hit getting closer to summertime, check them out. They've got a lot of great items for your next catering service at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine in Hayes. Tigers in Edmond to start this week, Thursday night, Central Oklahoma. Tough challenge. You beat them in Hayes. It was obviously an emotional game. That's the day that Craig got hurt and gave up a double-figure lead, came back to win the game. It was a highly emotional game, but boy, on their court and the way they can play. We talk about efficient offenses. They're usually right up there with anybody in this conference and region and really the country. Makes it very, very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, they're hard to guard. They can really shoot the ball. They have an inside presence, and I think the thing on their home floor that's going to make it really difficult for us is they're starting to press a lot more, and that press is going to probably give us some problems, and we're going to have to be able to handle that and not turn the basketball over. I think if we don't turn it over, it'll give us opportunities to score, and but that's easier said than done. But I think that's going to be the biggest key of that game is can we limit our turnovers against their pressure, which if we do that, it'll allow us to get some layups, maybe some wide open threes, and then we got to make shots. You know, the big difference at Kearney, we're 3 of 15 from 3. 3 against Washburn at home. We're 15-24. So especially when you go on the road, you got to do everything right, and then at the end of the day, you got to also be making some of your perimeter shots.
Talk about the turnovers, and we knew when Craig went down that number was probably going to rise. At times it's been a big problem. At other times it seems like they're doing a decent job. I mean, all things considered, you've been happy with how they've handled some of the pressure and the turnover situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think the turnovers we haven't just had huge numbers of turnovers. I think, though, we have struggled to get into our offense. Other teams' pressure has not allowed us to run great offense, even at Kearney. I mean, we didn't guard very well. We did a lot of things bad, but, I mean, we were just we couldn't get anything going offensively, and sometimes when you struggle so bad offensively, it starts to affect every part of your game. And I think the pressures have probably affected us more than turnovers, if that makes sense at all. We just are having a hard time getting into our offense and getting the ball where we'd like it to go.
And you kind of touched on Northeastern State. You beat them bad in Hayes, but they're a different team. Some guys were out. They're playing now. And even though they haven't gathered a lot of wins, you look at the games and the scores. I mean, they're playing people tough, and they've been close down to the wire games. It'll be their senior day. They're going to give you a good effort. That's going to be a big challenge to close out the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, they're tied with Emporia right now for that final spot and to make the conference tournament. So, they're aware of that, and that game may really be a big factor if they're able to get in or not. So there's a chance they'll be playing for their postseason lives that Saturday. So, I mean, we're going to have a tough weekend, a lot of travel, the thing that concerns you. Even if we're fortunate enough to get a home game, I mean, we're doing a lot of travel. We're going to play 3 games in 6 days and be coming off a 4-day road trip. Hey, we did this to ourselves. That's the position we put ourselves in, but this is going to be a challenging week for us.
All right. Well, as always, best of luck. We'll see you down in Edmond on Thursday night.
All right. Thank you.
There you go. That's head coach Mark Johnson of the Tiger men, Fort Hays State. Men and women in Edmond on Thursday, 5:30 for the ladies, 7:30 for the men. Coverage at 5:10 with the Auto World pregame show on Tiger Radio Mix 103. And then Saturday afternoon in Tahlequah, a 1:30 tip for the women, men to follow, and on the air at 1:10 with the Auto World pregame show. It's going to wrap up the program. That's going to wrap up the basketball portion of Tiger Talk. Certainly hope you've enjoyed our visits throughout the season. Amazing how quickly it flies. But we'd like to thank Coach Mark Johnson and Tony Hobson for their time so we can get up to date with Fort Hays State basketball, and our great sponsors as well, the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, the Taco Shop, G&L Tire and Automotive, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, Couture for Men and Women, James Motor Company, BTI, and Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine, where the fire's always burning. For women's coach Tony Hobson, men's coach Mark Johnson, this is Gerard Walbrock saying so long on Tiger Talk.
It's the Fort Hays State University Coaches Show on Eagle Community Television, brought to you by Eagle Communications.